Welcome back. In the last class we have discussed about the concept of global accounting standards, why there is a need for a unified standard that is accepted globally, and we have discussed about the needs, importance regarding the global accounting standards. So let us discuss some of the other theoretical aspects with regard to the same area. Previously we also mentioned about the concept of IFRS convergence, otherwise known as adoption. Convergence means trying to cope up with the system that is following internationally. So IFRS convergence means making our standards almost similar to the international standards, that is known as IFRS convergence. So why there is a need for a convergence? We have discussed about that in the needs and importance of a global accounting standard, and who all are going to get benefited because of this convergence. That is one of the main point you need to give importance. Who are the parties, or who are the persons who are going to be beneficial or benefited by this IFRS convergence? So let us discuss various areas. So what are the benefits of convergence with IFRS? In other sense, we can say, what are the importance of IFRS convergence? So first of all, benefit to the economy. That is the first and prime benefit from the IFRS. Benefit to the economy means when the markets expanded globally, the need for convergence increases, as the convergence benefits the economy by increasing the growth of the international business. It facilitates maintenance of orderly and efficient capital market. It also helps to increase the capital formation and thereby investment, and thereby leads to inflow of foreign capital into the country. One of the important requirement of the development of a country is investment made by various multinational companies in that particular country. So whenever there is an investment, whenever there is a rise in investment, that will ultimately leads to the development of the country. So in order to facilitate those investments, there is a need for a globally accepted system of business. And by implementing this IFRS convergence, we can easily conduct business all over the world. There will be no such issues regarding different practices, accounting practices, or different traditions, or different legal system that is prevailing in whatever the country in which the company is going to perform. So whenever there is a uniformity in the activities, ultimately there will be smooth flow of business. So one of the main beneficiaries of IFRS convergence is economy of the country. First beneficiary of the IFRS convergence is the economy. Economy will be the one that is going to be benefited by the IFRS convergence. Next is benefit to the investors. I believe you all know what is meant by investors. A strong case of convergence can be made from the viewpoint of the investors who wish to invest outside their own country. Now in this period of globalization, we can invest in any company that is working in any part of the world. That is a benefit of globalization. Investors want the information that is more relevant, reliable, timely, and comparable across the jurisdictions. We have discussed about that. Everyone who going to invest in business or any company, they need information, and those information can be obtained from financial statements. And since the companies are working all over the world, we need to make a unified system of accounting practices. That means convergence of IFRS. So through convergence of IFRS, it provides an opportunity for the investors to invest their money safely. And financial statements prepared using a common set of accounting standards help investors better understand the investment opportunities as opposed to the financial statement prepared using a different set of national accounting standards. We have mentioned that earlier times in different part of the country there will be different accounting practices. So because of the different accounting practices, their statement will be different. So we can't compare the statement of a company of one country with the statement of the another company of the other country. So in that case it will be difficult for an investor to compare which one is good, which one is bad. But implementation of a IFRS convergence concept, it makes all the accounting standards similar. When accounting standards are similar, the accounting practices followed will also be almost similar and the statement will be almost the same pattern. That helps the investor in understanding the financial position of whatever the company, whatever the origin of the country of the company. So ultimately the investor's confidence will boost. When accounting standards used are globally accepted, convergence contributes to investors' understanding and confidence in high quality financial statements. That ultimately increases the investment behavior of investors, because when the confidence of the investors increases or boosts, they will invest more. And IFRS convergence will ultimately boost the confidence of the investors. That is a big concept. So that is with regard to benefits to investors. Next one, benefit to the industry. Industry is one of the strong pillars for the development of an economy. The countries who is having a strong industrial background will ultimately flourish and develop. And IFRS convergence helps in maintaining the industrial area of a country very strong. A major force in the movement towards convergence has been the interest of the industry, because development of the industry will ultimately leads to the economic development of the country. So the industry is able to raise capital from foreign markets at lower cost, and it is possible because of this IFRS convergence. So if it can create a confidence in the mind of the foreign investors that their financial statement comply with the globally accepted accounting standards, then ultimately the investors will be interested in investing their money in the industry. With the diversity in accounting standards from country to country, the enterprises which operate in different countries face a multitude of accounting requirements prevailing in the country. The burden of financial reporting is lessened with the convergence of accounting standards, because it simplifies the process of preparing the individual and group financial statements, and thereby reduces the cost of preparing the financial statement using different set of accounting standards. We have discussed the same concept in the previous 2 points. The concept is simple. Previously there was different accounting practices, and it will be very difficult for preparation of financial statements and difficult in comparing the financial statement of companies that is working in different accounting systems. So by IFRS convergence, the concept is making the accounting practices that is going on all over the world into a unified pattern. Whenever the unification of accounting practices came into existence, all the financial statements will be almost similar pattern, follow a similar pattern. That will help in understanding various companies. That helps the investors in understanding the industry. That helps the investors to boost their confidence. All these leads to the development of the country or an economy or an industry. Apart from all these, there are some other benefits also. Mainly, it renders international investment more comparable to the potential investor, because the statements will be almost similar. They will follow a similar pattern, so it will be helpful in comparison. It reduces the cost of complying with the accounting requirements for global businesses. We have mentioned that point earlier. Another benefit is potentially establishes a more transparent accounting system, because if all the accounting practices followed all over the world is almost similar, then it will be very easy to understand the concept or financial statement prepared by a company. Everyone will be aware about the accounting standards, and statements are prepared on the basis of accounting standards, so it will be very clear. Whoever preparing the statements and whoever is going to refer those or study those statements will be will not find it difficult to understand the concept or situation. Another benefit with regard to IFRS convergence is reduces the operational challenges of accounting firms. Operational challenges means if by implementing the IFRS convergence, the practices and standards will be uniform all over the world. Then there is no issue regarding different accounting practices that was prevailing in different part of the country, because if there is a unified system, then it will be easy for everyone to understand the concept. But if they were following different system for different countries, then it will be very difficult, because for one country you need to study one system, for another country we need to study other different system. That's a very tiresome task from the accounting firm's point of view. But with the IFRS convergence, such issues are avoided. The international convergence of accounting standards take place in various countries, with over 100 countries having made public commitments supporting the convergence towards international financial reporting standards. Almost all the countries in the world are converging their standards towards IFRS, and quite recently the American standards also is trying to adapt the IFRS system. And in different part of the country, various countries has passed regulations regarding convergence of their standards with IFRS, and the adoption of IFRS or convergence of IFRS will ultimately implement a uniform system of accounting all over the world. So let us go to the next one. International Accounting Standards Board. You might have heard the term in IASB, otherwise known as International Accounting Standards Board. Familiarize the abbreviations and their expansions also. So the International Accounting Standard Board was formed in 2001 by dissolving the International Accounting Standards Committee. International Accounting Standards Committee. Familiarize these abbreviations, which was formed in 1973 with 9 member nations. And International Accounting Standard Board now has 14 members, of which 12 are full-time members and 9 are professional. Professional means professionals in the field of accounting. The IASB, otherwise known as International Accounting Standards Board, is funded by the International Accounting Standard Committee. The International Accounting Standards Committee Foundation is comprised of international auditing firms. It consists of private financial institutions, many industrial companies, central banks that is working all over the world, and the development banks that working worldwide. So all these constitute IASC, and in the beginning the International Accounting Standards were controlled by International Accounting Standards Committee. It was formed in 1973, but now it is known as International Accounting Standards Board. The aim of International Accounting Standards Board, formerly known as International Accounting Standards Committee, we have discussed that, otherwise known as International Accounting Standards Committee. Now it is known as IASB. Earlier its name was IASC. Okay, the main aim of IASB is to develop the International Financial Reporting Standards, that is known as IFRS. That is a main important aspect, and bringing transparency, accountability and efficiency worldwide in the financial market. Not only in the financial market or in the global economic market. A monitoring board of public authorities oversees the non-profit organization and services the public interest by fostering trust, growth, and long-term financial stability in the global economy. That is the main objective for the implementation of International Accounting Standards Board. The International Accounting Standards Board's governance and due process keep its setting of standards independent of special interests while ensuring accountability to shareholders around the globe. The concept is very simple. IASB is having the authority to implement international accounting standards. IASB, otherwise known as International Accounting Standards Board, who is the important group that implemented the international accounting standards. The IASB acts as an independent standard setting body of the IFRS Foundation. All the meetings of the IASB are held in the public and webcast. In fulfilling its standard setting the duties, the IASB follow a thorough, open and transparent process of which the publication of consultative documents such as discussion papers and exposure drafts for the public comment is an important component. We have mentioned about this publication of consultative documents for public comment. We have discussed about this aspect under the topic Accounting Standards Board. We have discussed about the procedure for preparation or publication of standards by a Accounting Standards Board. Similarly, same pattern will be followed by the International Accounting Standards Board also. They follow a simple and transparent system. It doesn't mean that they are the supreme authorities or whatever standard issued by the board has to be accepted worldwide. It doesn't work like that. They will formulate various study groups, discussions will be conducted, it will be discussed with the specialized professionals, not only professionals, before implementing a standards. It will be first prepared in advance and it will be discussed with the various professionals, it will be published in their journals and it will be discussed with the various professional chartered accountants. And finally, after getting various comments regarding the standards, they will be publishing the accounting standards that has to be followed all over the world. That is a procedure. So that is the system that followed by International Accounting Standards Board before they publish an accounting standard. So the International Accounting Standard Board will be having a constant contact with investors, analysts, regulators, business leaders, accounting standard setters, accounting professionals, various business magnates, various international bodies, worldwide banks, and many other persons, groups and professionals who are working in this field. IASB maintain a close contact with all these groups because before implementing a standard, it will be discussed with all these important personnel. Only after discussing that the proposed standard with these persons or groups, it will be finally published. So that is the system followed by IASB. And finally, IASB issues accounting standards in a series of international financial reporting standards, otherwise known as IFRS. Various standards issued by IASB is known as IFRS standards. It will be like IFRS 1, IFRS 2, IFRS 3, like that. A series of accounting standards known as International Accounting Standards. Earlier it was known as IAS. Earlier this committee was known as International Accounting Standards Committee. They were having the authority to issue standards. So in the beginning it was known as International Accounting Standards and it was released by IASC between 1973 because in 1973 IASC was formed and it continued until 2000 because in 2001 this one was dissolved into this one and were ordered numerically. Numerically means 1, 2, 3, it will be given like that. IAS 1, IAS 2, IAS 3, we will discuss that. The series started with IAS 1 and concluded with IAS 41 in December 2000. At the time when the IASB was established, they agreed to adopt the set of standards that are issued by IASC, that is IAS 1 to IAS 41, but now it is IFRS. but any standards published thereafter will follow a new series of standards known as IFRS standards. I believe you have understand the concept. Early it was IASB, they were the one that is issuing standards. Until 1972 to 73 to 2001, there are 41 IAS, International Accounting Standards. By 2000, it was dissolved and new one was formed, that is International Accounting Standards Board. They will be issuing the next set of standards, but it will be known as IFRS. That is the concept. I believe you have understand the concept. We will discuss further about the various standards issued by IAS and under IFRS, and there are some other international standards also. We will discuss about all these standards briefly in the coming sessions. Until then, go through it. If you have any queries, please let me know.